I, 24 male, have lived with my roommate Carl, 24 male, for 2 years. A few months into rooming with him, he told me he was pansexual. I said, okay, cool. I'm not interested in that personal information, nor am I judgmental. I said, all right. A few times over the last year, he's asked me if I ever considered experimenting with other men. I said no. Also, I said I didn't feel comfortable with him asking me such a personal question. It's not like we're close friends, we're only roommates by happenstance, basically. Every time I said this, he said, we'll see. I was like, what? Anyway, last night I had a horrifying experience. I heard a noise under my bed. It was movement. At first, I thought I was imagining things, but then I heard it again. I thought, oh God, is it a mouse or a rat or some crap? My God, this was like 3 a.m. So I got out of the bed and looked under with my phone flashlight. Now, this here was the most startling moment of my life. I guess I'm lucky because I've never before this moment felt true terror and fear as a physical sensation, but I was completely jolted. There, under my bed, staring wide-eyed at me, was my roommate. He screeched when I looked under the bed. I literally thought I was having a heart attack. I then just started hearing, sorry, sorry, sorry. My roommate crawled out from under the bed, crying, apologizing repeatedly. I was so creeped out and afraid that I ran out of the apartment in my pajamas. There was a Dunkin' Donuts that was open 24/7 a few blocks away, so I just sat in there with a decaf and a breakfast sandwich with my heart thundering away. My roommate kept texting me asking me to talk. I ignored it. In the texts, he found a way to horrify me even further. He confessed he'd been sleeping under my bed a few nights a week for 3 or 4 months, and that he was doing it to get closer to me and psychically saturate each other. What the heck? I waited for him to go to work, ran into the apartment, got my essentials and left. I'm currently crashing with a buddy. Our lease is up in 1 month. I intend to not renew. This dude is blowing up my phone, and I'm getting texts from other people, some friends of mine and some bozos who are friends with him. He's telling people I shamed him and that I'm rejecting his apologies. Some people are claiming I'm overreacting and invalidating his feelings. Most people agree he was improper, but think I should work it out with him and give him a second chance because he's sensitive. I feel like I'm losing my mind, and I'm seriously 20% convinced I'm experiencing a long lucid dream of some sort. I'm wondering if I'm going to wake up or if I'm in a coma or something because this crap is so insane to me. Like, not really, but maybe really. I mean, what the heck? So, am I the idiot or is everyone around me a nut? Yes, you did shame him. Yes, you rejected his apologies. Why? Because he crossed so many boundaries of common decency, privacy, and basic human respect. This is the behavior a predator or a stalker would do. Your trust with Carl has been broken, shattered into 1,000 pieces. Your roommate sneaking under your bed is not just weird, it's a major violation of your space. It's baffling that anyone would think you should give him another chance just because he's sensitive. They clearly don't understand how creepy and unsettling this whole thing is. You absolutely did the right thing by getting out. Your safety comes first. But what did the roommate actually tell his friends? They can't possibly know the truth and ask OP to let it go. He's sensitive. I don't give a flying fig if he's sensitive. His behavior is disturbing, invasive, and messed up. Also, does the roommate go into OP's room when OP isn't in the apartment? Ugh. OP, you are not the idiot. Not at all. Not even a little bit. And the screeching? What is this guy? A barn owl? I would have run for my life too. What the heck? Full body shiver. I'm a girl and I typically don't like saying flip the genders because usually it's said from a place of ignorance that doesn't consider the full context of what something would be like in another person's shoes. But in this particular case, we don't have to flip both genders. It might be helpful to illustrate how most people would feel if they realized a man had been sleeping underneath a woman's bed unbeknownst to her for months. I, 29 female, an American nurse, am married to my amazing husband, 30 male, who's Arab and works as a software engineer. We've been married for a few years and have 1 child together. Honestly, my husband is incredibly handsome, tall, with olive skin and striking green eyes. I admit I've dealt with some jealousy now and then because women often notice him. We met because of his health. He has pernicious anemia, meaning he needs a B12 injection every month for life, and I was his nurse. Over time, we fell in love and got married. He's kind, caring, and a wonderful father, but he still holds on to some Middle Eastern habits. For example, he refuses to kiss in public, especially in front of family, and prefers to keep a little distance from my family, saying that too much interaction often leads to unnecessary problems. I've come to respect that, it's just part of who he is. Recently though, something weird happened. My younger sister, 25, decided to spread a story that my husband is cold, rude and mistreats me, and that I'm too afraid to tell anyone. I have no idea why she did this, but my parents completely believed her. They began dropping by my house frequently, saying they just wanted to check in and see how I was doing with the baby. After a while, my mom finally confessed the real reason for their visits. They were worried about me because of the story my sister told them. I was furious. When I confronted my sister, she laughed and said it was a joke, but the damage was already done and now my parents were seriously concerned. So on my husband's birthday, I invited the entire family over. I thought, okay, let's end this nonsense once and for all. During the celebration, I kissed my husband in front of everyone. Now, keep in mind that my husband is incredibly shy about public affection. He immediately turned red and looked so embarrassed. Later, after the guests left, he told me he was really angry. He felt humiliated and said I knew how much he disliked being put on the spot like that, especially in front of our families. I explained that I only did it to shut down the rumours my sister had started and to show everyone that our relationship was perfectly fine. Now I feel guilty because I hate making him uncomfortable, especially on his birthday. But at the same time, I felt I needed to take control of the situation and stop my family from believing the nonsense my sister had spread. So, am I the idiot for embarrassing my husband by kissing him in front of my family, even though I knew it would make him uncomfortable just to prove a point? I'm going to go with you are the idiot here, which is weird for me because I don't think I've ever thought someone would be an idiot for kissing their spouse. But in this case, you know he's uncomfortable with public affection and you didn't get him to consent beforehand. That's really not okay. He has nothing to do with these rumours besides being a victim of them. Why is he now being used as a prop on top of it? It also doesn't actually do anything to further your case with your family. If you were a victim, would you be somehow unable to kiss him in front of your family? I'm not seeing the through line there. I really didn't understand what OP thought a public kiss would achieve either. There are many abuse victims that have normal-looking relationships with outsiders, with public affection, etc. It's behind closed doors that the crap happens. So OP not only disrespected their husband's boundary, but did it for no good reason at all. Clearly, OP needs to learn how to communicate with their husband to gain consent for these actions, and with their family to dispel these rumours. No need to sacrifice your husband's comfort. Jeesh. I had to recheck your age because this is immature behaviour for someone your age. Kissing your husband in front of everyone, which you know he hates, proves nothing about the status of your relationship. You are the idiot, and so is your equally immature sister for her so-called joke. Why not just purely and simply have no contact whatsoever with her until she 1. Apologises, 2. Clears up any lies to everyone who might have heard her destructive lies, and tell your parents that's the plan and they can expect no contact too if they keep it up. 3 weeks ago, my stepsister, teen female, first asked me, teen male, if I'd care if she was gone tomorrow. The question was asked out of nowhere. She came into my room at 10 p.m. to ask me on a Friday night. I told her that wasn't a question I would answer. 3 days later, she asked me the question again and said I had a weird reaction to the question. I ignored her, but she asked again, this time in front of my mom. My mom backed up my stepsister and told me she was allowed to ask, since I'm so distant with her, and refused to stop calling her my stepsister when she calls me her brother. I got really frustrated with them and I called them out. I told my stepsister she was asking a question that would lead to a terrible reaction if I answered one way, and she'd likely call nonsense with the good answer. I told her she might not like that I call her my stepsister when she calls me her brother, but it doesn't mean she can force questions that could negatively affect me. I told Mom she was just looking for me to say something that would get me into trouble for this, because she doesn't like that I still use step. My mom told me I should be willing to accept the consequences, like punishment consequences, if I'm going to remain distant from more than half of my family, stepdad and stepsister. I told her she wasn't being fair because I was civil and polite and I didn't cause crap for anyone. She yelled at me that I should have been willing to open my heart to growing our family after Dad died, and instead I made life sad for all three of them because I wasn't along for the ride. She said being polite isn't good enough when people's emotions and hearts are in the mix. My stepsister started crying, which made Mom send me to my room. She took my phone for 5 days as a punishment, and my stepsister told me after the punishment was handed down that it served me right for not being the brother she wanted. Additional info you might need. My dad died when I was pre-tween, Mom remarried when I was tween. I had grief therapy and we all did family therapy together. I'm close to both sets of grandparents and one paternal uncle. My stepsister's mom abandoned her when she was a baby, and she has no contact with her mom's side of the family and only a little contact with her dad's side. Her dad isn't close to his family, and he's tried to change it, but it hasn't worked. She wanted me to be her brother from the start, and called me her brother before my mom even married her dad. I never say sister or dad for her and her dad. I don't hate her, I was always more indifferent, but lately starting to dislike her for being so pushy and whiny about it. Am I the idiot? Oh yes, bullying your son is a really great way to foster a mother-son relationship. Mom's a smart one, isn't she? Your mother, on the other hand, has issues, and it's wrong to push this family narrative. Sorry, OP, I'm certain your mama loves you, however she's blindsided by her desire for a family. In the future, your best action would be not to engage with your stepsister. Keep emotions in check. Soon you'll be nearly adult, and you can build your life creating distance. Honey, your mom has issues that you can't fix. Keep your extended family close and live with them when you can. Your mother is deluded into thinking that she can recreate this happy family and discount your feelings. I'm very sorry for what you're going through. You are a young adult and can express your feelings. Our story begins 10 years ago when my husband and I had just moved to the Arizona desert and I was in my intern year. For those not familiar, Arizona is a beautiful state with the most god-awful summer heat imaginable. Temps regularly top 110 Fahrenheit, and over 120 F is not unheard of. People from there like to say, it's a dry heat, i.e. zero humidity, which is fine if it's only kinda hot, but over a certain point you're just living inside an oven on broil, and those people are crazy. Intern year is a year-long hazing ritual in which you work 80-ish insanely stressful hours a week. 0 out of 10, I would not recommend it. My husband was in a chill grad school program at that time. I arrive home one day after 16 hours in the ICU, a typical ridiculous day with people coding, etc., and find my husband sitting in his basketball shorts and nothing else in a house that is minimum 105 degrees Fahrenheit. He tells me our AC died and he called a repair guy but won't be there until tomorrow. He thinks we're fine to wait it out. He has windows open, fans going, and a big glass of ice water. Honestly, he's doing fine. The heat is so bad that I'm a bit lightheaded but also too tired to problem solve, and I have to be up and heading back out to work in about 6 hours, so I just take off my scrubs and try to fall asleep. 20 minutes later, I'm lying in a pool of sweat, experiencing a heat so intense that it feels like a febrile 400-pound bear has settled on my chest and is panting into my face. I text my friend with the guest room, and she says to come right over. 30 seconds later, the scrubs are back on and I'm in my car. Here's where I might be the idiot. I didn't invite my husband, I just said, I'm heading to friend's house, bye, and left. About 10 minutes into being in the AC, I realised that leaving my husband in a house that was literally suffocating me wasn't super kind. I called him and told him he was welcome to come over. He was doing fine and stayed in the nightmare hot house. Over the years, my husband has gained much joy from recounting this story, always with the tone, isn't it hilarious how my kind and thoughtful wife becomes a total idiot when she overheats? He's not doing a character assassination, he places the idiotic behaviour in a specific situation, but he is still telling this story 10 years on. In the last month, he told some new parent friends of ours and our regular babysitter. Hearing it now, I wonder if I really was the idiot at all. Sure, abandoning your husband in an overheating home is pretty bad. On the other hand, he happily settled himself into that 105-degree nightmare and didn't take the obvious step of arranging a hotel room so that neither of us had to suffer. He dropped the ball too. If I'm the idiot, I'll swallow my pride and let him keep telling this story through our 50th anniversary. If I'm not the idiot, this will end the hilarious heat-induced idiot anecdote and my husband will be obligated to move on. What say you? Not the idiot, and I turn it back on him. Isn't it hilarious how my idiot husband couldn't problem solve and find us a hotel or air-conditioned room when I was an intern working 16-hour days and had to be back at work in 6 hours, so I could at least sleep comfortably in a 105-degree house, and is now bringing up this story yet again? Listen, after 16 hours in the ICU, the last thing anyone needs is a DIY sauna. Your husband was chilling like it was a tropical vacation while you were just trying not to become the grilled dinner special. You even offered him a spot at your friend's air-conditioned home and he was still like, "No, I'm good." So really, you didn't abandon him, you just respected his commitment to heat-stroke. I don't even get what's funny about the story. It's a pretty mundane story about an insufferably hot night with broken AC when Opie really needed what little sleep she could get. Like, is the joke that she's a wuss in the heat or something? I'm baffled how this is one of his favourite stories or why he thinks others would find it entertaining. I'm not making a sarcastic dig at the husband or anything. I'm seriously lost. For years, I've been the one to host Thanksgiving dinner. I actually love cooking and bringing everyone together. But this year, my youngest child has a medical condition that weakens their immune system, so the doctors advised us to be very cautious about contact with anyone showing symptoms of a cold or flu. So I made a simple request in our family chat. If anyone felt sick or had cold symptoms, please skip dinner this year. I didn't think it was a huge ask, just a small precaution for my child's health. But when I brought it up, a few family members got upset. They said they couldn't miss Thanksgiving over a small cold and that I was overreacting. Some even joked that I'd throw them out of the house if anyone sneezed. I tried explaining, but no one seemed to take me seriously. After much back and forth, I decided to cancel Thanksgiving dinner at my place and told them they could gather elsewhere. Several family members are angry, saying I went too far and ruined Thanksgiving with an absurd rule. Others think I'm punishing everyone because they didn't follow my demands. Honestly, I was only trying to protect my child, but now I feel guilty. Am I the idiot for cancelling dinner instead of risking someone coming sick? Not the idiot. Like you say, you're protecting your child. Imagine your child getting super sick because a family member brought a cold to your home and how they would feel. They're being selfish. Let them sort their own dinner. A child, your child, has a medical condition that requires people to take extra precautions. What the heck? Let them stew in their own mess. They opened their mouths and inserted their foot so hard they'd be tasting leather for months. Never ever budge on your kid's health, Mama. You may feel guilty for not being a doormat, but you'll feel a lot worse if your baby ends up sick. I hope you and your kiddo have a healthy and happy Thanksgiving.